one of the things that I learned early on and just doing my own content, right, was that kind of that understanding of how to schedule and more importantly, like batch everything that you were doing. Because when I first started out, I literally would just take a piece of my day to specifically create a piece of content for that day. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Video Marketers Vault podcast. For those out there who are new here and have no idea who the hell I am, my name is Evan Andrews, owner and operator of Vandrews Media. And if you are one of those people that are new here to this podcast and to my channel, make sure that you go ahead and like this video, share it with somebody that you know that might need to hear it, and make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you can stay up to date with everything else that we're releasing with this podcast and some of the other content that I put out on this channel. But today I have a very special guest and former student of mine. Now I would consider him my colleague, right? Mr. Greg Standal over at New Cape Pictures, right?
That's
New Cape
right.
Pictures. Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Sometimes I deal, and as you know, coming out of the program that you were a part of all that time ago, I get so many pictures, productions. I get all of those, so I never sometimes know how to keep all of you guys straight. But Greg, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's really nice to reconnect with you.
Yeah, dude. No, it's been a hot minute. I know that we've kind of kept up with each other on Instagram a little bit
Mhm.
there, and I've seen a ton of the content and things that you're putting out right now, and it looks like you're doing pretty well. But for those people out there that don't know you, Greg, go ahead and I'll give you a second here to let people out there know who you are, who it is that you serve, and how you help serve them.
Sure. So my name is Greg Standal. My company is New Cape Pictures. We're a full-service video marketing agency, mainly catering to construction and trade companies, service-based businesses, things like that. We do everything from pre-production, production, post-production, and the distribution of the content as well.
Nice. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people now have to be that kind of full service, full stack marketing team and marketing operations. And I commend you on, staying this long in the game, right? But today I want to jump into the topic for the people that we service, right? I think the people that we service, they all kind of start from a flat ground zero for the most part, unless they've maybe done content or things like that in the past and they kind of understand the foundations that they've already built. But for those that are starting out, right? They start out from ground zero, right? Uh, I think social media, and I'm going to use social media as the blanket place of starting because I think that's where video content is. I think where people kind of they default to when they think video content, they think social media, right? So I think the people that we kind of service, they really have no idea where to really start with social media content. And today I wanted to kind of go over kind of how they can go through a plan of action, right? Knowing what to create, possibly like when to post it, where to post it as well. Because outside of social media, there's multiple other places that you can put video content to help service your business. But also too, knowing when to transition out of DIY into actually getting help and bringing somebody on, and when they go through that process, what kind of questions do they need to ask? What do they need to look for? Like, how do they know that they're getting a good deal when they do hire somebody to do content for them? So where I kind of wanted to start first is kind of categories of styles of content, because I think that's the first question that I always get asked is like, well, what do we make? Right. And I've kind of broken it down into a couple of categories here. But I think the first one that any business should make is some sort of like founding or story video, some kind of mission video about what makes the business tick, the people that are with inside of it, what they kind of believe, right, as a company, their mission statement overall. But that's where I always say that they should get started. But what do you have to say for that?
I totally agree. I think kind of peeking behind the veil and understanding the purpose or the mission of the company kind of helps bring people into the fold and kind of connect on a different level. It's not just surface level. You're really understanding why they're engaged in this. And I think that's a great way to kind of form that initial connection on social media and just in general.
Yeah, I think it's this separator, right? Like you mentioned, you do a lot with like the home service space contractors,
Mhm.
people like that, right? They all seemingly do their marketing the same exact way, right? So how are we able to set them apart from all of the people that look exactly like them, right? Well, a one simple video, right, can do that. And I think the power of story and that narrative is really what, at least that's my style, right? Really telling a story of sorts, right? Because I think storytelling, it's much more captivating than just this is who we are and this is what we do, right?
Exactly.
Story for me has always been the basis of everything, which brings me to my second piece that I think if everybody, again, I'll go back to the people that you service there in the home service space, right? Like they all love their Google reviews. Would you say? Would you agree?
Yeah,
Right.
of course.
I think client testimonials are the second most powerful thing. I have it as number 3 on my list, but I'm going to move it up to number 2. I think client testimonials, every time they finish a project, have somebody leave a really good Google review, them reaching out to that person and incentivizing them to maybe get on camera and do kind of like a story based narrative of testimonial for them. I think that is going to do 10 times the lifting than just that Google review will do. Right. And I think in the future, I've said this on past episodes, and I'll get your take on this because you see a lot of marketing and sales and different components of in being in the business that you're in. But I think sales pages in the future are just going to literally be a scroll of testimonials and case studies. But I don't know if you, I don't know where you fall on that line.
Well, as to the future, it very well could be, but I actually think video testimonials and video case studies is one of, if not the most powerful conversion tools you can implement, because the Google review is great, and obviously you're upping your Google presence and profile. But when you actually hear and see from a client that highlights the transformation they went through, I was at A, and then I worked with XYZ company, and now I'm at B. When you hear that and see that, and you could tell it's genuine and honest and not coerced and just from the heart, people really, really respond to that. And why wouldn't you? Right? It's like a referral without meeting the person. So,
1,000%. And I think the more of those that you have, right? Like, I mean, just imagine like your email drip, right? Over a month. Like if you had 15 of them every 2 days, you're just hitting your email list with, look how we helped this person. Look
yeah,
how we helped this person. This is what we did for this person. And it just creates that never ending kind of top of mind feel that I don't think that a lot of companies really think about. They just think about like, I was talking to a guy today actually about, and he was in the home service space, right? And he was, and I was giving him the fact of like, I think a lot of people in home service, they are, they are reactionary to their marketing. They're not proactive, right? Which is why, like for me and my offer and the people that I service, we really focus on platforms like Meta, right? I don't focus on places like Google because I think that those are more reactionary places. Whereas I want to get in front of people's decisions or thoughts and plant those seeds, if you will,
right.
right? And I think that to me, I align with that process of marketing more than the the Google aspect of things and kind of relying on that monolith there. But another couple of videos that I have written down here are educational or informational content, right? And I think I could adjacently say storytelling content as well, right? Because testimonials are great, and like you said, I think are one of the most powerful things that you can do. But people also want to see the people that make the business tick. So if like the founder or people that work within the business that are more of the face of the company, so have you on social, I think them telling stories as well in certain aspects is viable, right? Because at the same time that can educate people and it can inform people, right? But making some of that short form content, I think, um, is something that everybody feels like they should be doing. They just don't exactly know how to go about doing it.
Mm.
And then another one that I love and I'm trying to do more of myself uh in my own business is like behind the scenes or like process stuff,
Yeah.
right? Fly on the wall, if you will, mic me up and just have me go and then just pull the clips out of it, right? But are those kind of some other, are those the other types of videos that you possibly have within your offer that you help servicing in the clients that you serve?
Yeah. So basically, everything you've said so far is what we do. We do the sit down talking head interview style content. We do the behind the scenes on their job sites, kind of being like you said, being flies on the wall. And I try to mix it up with different iterations or styles of the same creative. So with the talking head stuff, maybe we mount a camera on the windshield of a car, have one of the camera operators sit shotgun and just, yeah, we're off to this job site and this is what I'm expecting. It just changes it up. It kind of has that HGTV reality show vibe. And like I said, it diversifies the content different, just to keep it fresh. So I think, it's a mixture of talking head and the behind the scenes time lapses, drone shots, the guys working, things like that.
Sure. So for those to kind of round out this first discussion point of like what these companies or service businesses should be making, if they want to obviously start from ground zero, they don't know who to hire yet. They don't know if they should invest the money in hiring somebody. How can they invest time and maybe a little bit of money into doing it for themselves? Like, what would you say would be the best kind of course and plan of action that they could implement with the people and teams and service members that they do have?
I would say it's a mixture of coming up with a plan. A strategy might be phase two or a little bit more involved, but just a content plan. What are we talking
Mhm.
about? When can we film it? How much can we derive out of the shoot day? And then the other thing is, I mean, with everybody's phone now being so advanced, I mean, you really are. Everybody has high quality camera, quality out of the gate. So if you want to just rely on your phone to start, I think that's okay. But what's really important is investing in some kind of professional audio. And now, you can get a wireless mic that syncs up to your phone, because I think that's the secret sauce that a lot of people don't consciously identify with. But when you hear high quality audio, it really it makes it just feel higher end, because it is. So I think just investing a little bit of money into some audio equipment on the front end and having some kind of a plan in place, you'll be ahead of the pack just by doing those two things.
I totally agree with you. It's funny that you say that because I keep seeing this one guy I think he's on TikTok, right? TikTok shop, how they just want to like resell and,
Right.
do all the stuff there. But he's this guy and he's got this beard and he talks about this little microphone and he's got a shop vac like behind him, like running. And then he has the little dongle that plugs into the phone and he has it out and he has it in his hand and he's like, you can hear the vacuum. Now he goes and he plugs it in and he clips it to his beard just because it's funny. And
Mm-hmm.
then literally everything that's like the entire vacuum just gone. And it's probably like a $15-$20 microphone. Like it's not anything crazy. And you can also even do further, you know, if you had an editor or somebody maybe helping you clean that up even a little bit more, you can have it cleaned up a little bit more. But I think that, like you said, you'd use the word high quality or words high quality. I think that people think to get high quality means that you have to spend a bunch of money, and you honestly really don't this day and age. Like they make stuff so affordable for consumers that they just need to know where to start, right? So I think you're exactly right. Use your phone because it's going to take 4K footage if you wanted to even do that, and then just get some kind of inexpensive microphone that'll just do that noise cancellation for you. And I think that's a great starting point.
Yeah.
The Where I want to kind of go next is like, how should they, like, people don't know like how often should I be creating content, right? So I think something that you just kind of mentioned is like, obviously you want to create some kind of plan, right? How much can you get out of a certain pre-planned maybe shoot day or something like that, or how do we work it into the day to day, right? And knowing when to find those spots. But what do you suggest for like frequency for people when it comes to posting video content on I'm going to go back into like social media. Like how often do you think they should be posting?
I think at least 2 or 3 times a week. I think one is too little. 5, 6 might be a little too much, at least out of the gate. A lot of times, these service based businesses don't have a massive following online. You're trying to build that up, so I don't think it's necessary to be front of mind like every day. But I think if you're
Mhm.
putting out a higher frequency of higher quality content, people notice that. It's one of those things where I think people associate high quality videos with a high quality company, and if you're subtly putting out higher quality material, people do raise their eyebrow at that. And if you're doing that, twice a week, 3 times a week, I think that's a good cadence to begin. And then as you grow a following and the engagement increases, you could, tack on more content or consider tacking on more content.
Sure. No, I totally agree with that. In your eyes, um, is what's more important for you, short form or long form?
Short form.
Short form
Short
is more
form.
important for you. Is that like mainly what's in your offer?
Yeah, generally what we do is we film one day a quarter and we create enough content in that one day to cover those 3 months. Depending on the company, if it's like a roofing company, we may go out 2 or 3 additional days for, pickup days, drone shots, and just, hey, we got this big job. It's a commercial job. This is a residential job. They want to capture that. But for the most part, the way we work, we're able to get a lot done in one day. And if we're covering, 3, 4, 5 interviews and everybody's being asked 10, 15 questions, that's a lot of content, a lot of snippets to pull,
Sure.
which allows us to, give them the most bang for their buck, I guess you could say, because they're getting a lot of videos out of just one day of production.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, for the people that I work with, when they talk about like they really struggle with either long form content or like how do they nurture people,
Hmm.
my go-to addition into my offer that I'll tell them is to do very similar to kind of like what we're doing right this second, right? And I call it the podcast. Um, what's the word that I, yeah, it's a podcast methodology, right? So I have it super boiled down to a science where we spend about 90 minutes with a client and we're able to pull 4 about 15-minute long form videos out of that. And then we even clip those up, right? So that is a one really consistent way to get those kind of weekly nurture videos that we can send in a long form fashion.
Hmm.
Then we get all the short form stuff to stay top of mind as well inside of that. But then we also obviously want to be out in the field with them or seeing exactly what they do. And then that's where those extra, types of content, short form mostly, will come out of that, just so that we can peek behind the curtain or see how they actually are doing. Because the podcast stuff only really, for me, it's a way for you to like, it's trust building, right? It's or authority building more than trust, I would
Yes.
say, because they can sit here in an environment where they can spout off all of the knowledge that they have, right? They can answer questions. They can, do a multitude of things that are going to ultimately showcase that knowledge, that expertise, and that's going to get people to the next thing, like we spoke about before. The testimonial will right hook them over to, okay, now I need to talk to this person because I think that they're the ones that actually can help me, right? So that's what kind of what I offer for people when I know that they're struggling with that.
Hmm.
But testimonials are the cornerstone of my particular offer that I do with the service businesses that I work with. But the the last thing that I want to kind of get into, Greg, is the how to manage their time best. And this kind of goes into how do they know when to offload doing it themselves, bring in somebody like yourself, myself, and actually get help along this process. What would you say is kind of like that tipping point for uh, for them to actually get outside help with their content?
I would say any company that's taking content creation seriously and making it a part of their marketing plan, making it a part of their schedule, but finding that it's overwhelming to create the content after the fact. Because if you want to bring it to the next level, there's probably going to be some editing involved. And while you can outsource that without bringing on a professional company, if you want to mitigate time, if you want to create even higher quality content, if you know what you're doing is good, but you want it to be great, that's when you need to bring in a professional. And I think most companies have to be at a certain threshold to do that. Like if you're a small company with 1 or 2 people, you're probably not in a place where you're going to need a professional video content creation company. But if you have multiple trucks and you have different jobs going on every day and you want to highlight that and you want to really bring your marketing and brand awareness and the perception of your company to the next level, that's when you bring on a company like mine or yours to help facilitate that. And it's also it's stress free. Like when you're working with the right creative partner who has your back and is going to portray your company in the best possible light, you can kind of lean back as a business owner and just go, these guys have it. They're going to do their thing and they're going to make us look even better than what we're trying to do ourselves.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And you mentioned it a little bit already, but I want you to uncover it a little bit more for me. Exactly diving into your process, right? So you create content for the people that you work with. You said once a quarter.
Once a quarter, we'll do the sit down interviews. And then after that, like that'll be 3 or 4 hours in the morning. And then after
Mhm.
that, we'll kind of break off and go to job site A, job site B, and kind of shadow them. And then generally speaking, I would say 80% of the time, that's enough. And especially now with AI, you can plug in a still image and, an image of their guys working is now in motion, right? So you can play with that. So there's different ways to kind of, enhance upon what you're doing, animation. But I would say, yeah, one day a quarter allows us to do that. And if it's a bigger company with a lot going on, we may, shadow them on another pickup day or two to just get additional content.
Yeah, I agree with that. One of the things that I learned early on in just doing my own content, right, was that kind of that understanding of how to schedule and more importantly like batch everything that you were
Hmm.
doing. Because when I first started out, I literally would just take a piece of my day to specifically create a piece of content for that day. And I was looking at it like from this lens of like, oh yeah, I just got to knock out the thing. But it was like inside of that time, I was trying to do like talking head stuff with my phone, right? But inside of that time, I was like, okay, well, I have to script something out, right? I then have to sit down and deliver it to the camera. Then I've got to edit it all together. Then I've got to post it, right? So that's like 4 or 5 steps right there,
Hmm.
right? And I was taking, I mean, sometimes I was taking two plus hours to do that, and I just like looked around and I was like, I can't do this every day. Like this is, I mean, and I wasn't even doing like big stuff like you and I probably could do for ourselves if we wanted to, right? I was just doing very simple talking head, cut the fluff, and put captions on it. Like that was it, right? But when I started getting into batching, right, I could take maybe 3.5 hours and sit down and record 30 pieces of content and then just have an editor who I have on my team now just put it all together for me,
Yeah.
right? And that saved me so much time every single month that I then tried to instill that into everybody that I work with. Now, when I go on any shoot that I go on, it's like, how can we maximize the most out of this? Because, like a testimonial, I mean, what's a testimonial take you on average to just one? Like, what's it take you from full setup to breakdown? You're out the door. Like, I know
Oh,
what my science is built out to, but
I would say
what
like
is
an hour,
yeah,
less.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
nothing too crazy.
yeah, anywhere from like 60 to 90 minutes. I mean, the interview itself is 10,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? And then it's just setup and breakdown basically from there. But when I go, I set aside 4 to 6 hours with the client and say, okay, we got 3 testimonials as a part of your package. We're going to line those up back to back to back, and we're going to get them all done. We probably will even do their brand story video interview within that time and process as well, and then maybe schedule a secondary day to do like the B-roll aspect or something,
I
right?
think I think business owners appreciate that too, because at the end of the day, even those that are into it and they understand the importance of creating better content and they're putting in the time, they ultimately are very busy. It's not their hustle, it's not their main focus. So if you get in there and you're able to accomplish all these different styles of creatives in one day, they're impressed by that and they appreciate that because it's out of their hands and they know like, wow, this only took 2, 3, 4 hours and I'm good for the next couple months. So I think a lot of business owners appreciate having a professional service come in and kind of mitigate their time and help them with that end of it too.
No, I do. I completely agree. I mean, one of my most recent clients, she just made a similar comment to me. It was the end of last week. She was like, "Wow, I was really impressed with the way that you've just kind of handled this process from A to Z right now. I honestly wasn't expecting that from what it looked like, from the size of your business and all of that. Because again, I'm not a huge operation, right? I've got myself, a small editing team, and a small team that helps me like with funnel build out and things like that. But like that's it, right? Um, and she was just really impressed, and that's what I pride myself on is being able to save them time, but also at the same time giving them what looks like took 10 to 15 people to make, right? And
Yeah.
I think that you're exactly right. They do appreciate that when you can service their time as well because it is very important. Um, Greg, that kind of brings us to the end of this episode. I mean, was there anything that maybe I didn't cover today that you felt like you want service business out there, whether it's your niche or any other niche out there that you might service? Anything that you'd like particularly want them to leave from this conversation today, or something that you just always try to drill down with the people that you work with?
Yeah, there is something I do want to touch on, and I think when business owners, particularly service-based business owners, they set out to work with a company like mine or yours, and they want to bring their videos to the next level. I think they think that we want you to go out there and we want the drone shots and we want the time lapses. We want the guys working. We want our trucks pulling up. And yes, that's really cool. It makes for good videos and we will get that. And I think it's important. But what I see time and time again is once you get the business owner or the senior management or customers, whoever it might be, just a team on camera, and you post those reels with the face of the people behind the company, those always perform better. The engagement is always higher when you humanize the brand and you bring the real people behind. Because at the end of the day, whether you're a painting company or a home builder or a roofing company or HVAC, whatever, at the end of the day, and even us as video producers, when we're actually on set, we're all kind of doing a very similar thing. So when you're seeing that, you're not distinguishing yourself as much as when you actually get the people behind the company on camera. And I think that really does resonate with people, and they like to see that because that really allows you to, stand out from the herd and be your own, your own voice and your own personality.
I couldn't agree more with that sentiment. I mean, it's also too, like, it's a big reason why, like, I do this, right? And why me and you are sitting here and talking today, because could I just make a bunch of educational content or, like, time lapses of me working and yada, yada, like, yeah, I could do those kind of things, right? But I think humanizing myself to sit here and say, like, no, I understand the woes of a regular business owner. I am one myself, right?
Yeah.
I might be in a particular different niche than the concrete guy or the general contractor or whatever. But just because we're not in the same industry model doesn't mean that we don't understand that marketing is important, and humanizing ourselves is the fastest way that we're going to build connection with the people that we're trying to reach. You can only throw, I think, so many dollars at something, right? If we're talking about, like, I could buy radio spots, I could buy ads, I could do all of this stuff, and I can throw all this money at it. But if I hide behind some brand and people don't know who I am or this, that, or the other, they're going to have a really hard time choosing me and purchasing with me. Right. And that's exactly why I said, like, I do this and I make the kind of content that I make, because I think that it's going to build that connection and bridge that connection gap that much faster for
Yeah.
the people that I want to work with. So
100%, man.
dude. So Greg, I appreciate it, dude. You taking the time out to sit here with me today. I can't wait for you to see this when it's finally up and out here in a couple of weeks. But dude, for those out there, I'm going to put this all in the show notes because I know that you're going to send me a good little blurb to put in the description here. But let everybody out there know your service area, again, who you service, and the best way that they can reach out and contact you.
I would say any and all service-based businesses. We've done a lot of product ads over the years as well, but now we've really kind of niched down and we're focused on construction companies, trades, any company in the trades, any service-based business really, we can help. And as far as where to find us, we're on Instagram at New K Pictures, Facebook. My YouTube channel is actually my personal YouTube channel, Gregory Standal. We should connect there. Yeah, that's how you can find us.
What about
And the
service
website.
area? Like, where do you go? I mean, how far out? What's your berth look like?
So I'll go anywhere in the country. Generally, I do stay in the New York, New Jersey, PA area, but we've done shoots all over the country. So
Cool.
if the synergy's there, I'll go anywhere.
For sure, man. Awesome. Well, yeah, you guys can find out more information on Greg and New Cape Pictures down in the description of this video. And if you got this far in this video and you guys enjoyed this podcast, remember, make sure you like this video, share it with a service-based business owner that you know, because you know that they're not making the kind of content, if they're making any content at all, inside of their business to actually help their marketing. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you go find the links and get connected with Greg there as well. And if you're in the service areas that he just mentioned, or again, he said he'll go all over the country. So make sure that you check him out. I primarily deal with the Houston area. Texas is way too big for me to leave as of right now, but I'm fine with that. So if you're in the Houston area, I mean, I even go as far as Austin, San Antonio, and Dallas. So if you're watching this and you're a service business owner in those particular areas, I can definitely help you out as well there. But until next time, everybody, make sure that you keep up to date with us, and we'll see you on another episode of the Video Marketers Vault podcast. Peace.
Later.